Good morning, y'all. So, before we get started, I want you to know we're getting a little organized now. I have a tiny file folder for all of my loose papier, but welcome. What a week it has already been, and it's only hump day. Man, what a ride we're on, okay? And it had me thinking a lot about, what did I want to talk about today? And I decided that I know what I know, and I am good at what I'm good at. And I need to stay the course when it comes to my personal plan, right? Because the skills that I have are the skills that I have, and we got to learn to work with them, which is what this whole exercise is about, right? Now, stick with me, because the beginning of this is going to feel kind of muddled. It's going to feel a little disjointed, confusing, and you might question where I'm going with this, but trust me, okay? I have a plan, my end goal is in sight, and I do have a point, and by the end of this, I think you're gonna agree with me, okay? Also, yes, admittedly, I told you, procrastination queen. That's not the word, but anyways. Anyway. Yes, I understand I'm doing a video about superficiality and the importance of, personal maintenance and presentation while simultaneously having avoided taking care of my own business. But you know what? It's my house and I do what I want with my hot body, okay? So take a hike. I'll get to it when I get to it. Now, stick with me. Before we get too far in, I needed a little classical here to soothe out my ruffled feathers this morning. So here we go. Let's get us some, I'm gonna put some Beethoven on, okay? And we're gonna enjoy it, all right? So, put a little Beethoven in the background. Maybe we'll switch that up a little later, but what are we talking about today? Well, the couple of things that we're gonna touch on are feminism and how I think the alleged modern feminism movement basically shot women in the foot. And that we need to make beauty pageants great again. Advice from my daddy, and why all of this matters, okay? So, I think where we've kind of lost our way, just overall, right? And I've talked about this in my Sunday sermons and our need to reestablish layers 2 through 4 of Maslow's hierarchy, right? And the erosion of personal identity, cultural direction, and how that ends up affecting the individual, right? And in that vein, I think that what modern feminism has done, and you can argue whether this is intentionally or unintentionally, I think that it has convinced women to abandon their greatest strengths by convincing them that they're weaknesses, okay? And My dad told me when I was becoming a young woman, I forget what exactly the context of the conversation was. It was a long time ago, but his response has stuck with me. And it was that if women ever recognized the influence and power that they have over men, we would rule the world. And he was very honest about that. And the older that I've gotten, he was right. And it's because, well, to put it bluntly, a man will go to war for some good puss, babies, okay? We know this. We've been done known this. And the refusal to acknowledge that has, I believe, directed the course to where we are right now. And I think that there's a lot going on right now, okay? And I think that I understand why there is a segment of the population that is now anti-women voting. Okay, I understand it, babies. I do. Some of y'all I see out here, and it's got nothing to do with gender, frankly, on my end. Some of y'all, babies, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to vote because you don't even make good personal decisions. Why should you be trusted to direct the future of this nation? Okay. The solution to that little sidebar, I think, is that we need to have a test. You have to take a test to get your driver's license. Maybe you should have to take a test to get your voter's license. But we can't even ask for a driver's license nationally right now, so that's an even bigger problem. But anyways, my point is that I understand why it's predominantly a male opinion, all right? And I can understand why some men feel this way, especially young men. I understand. I really do. And I empathize greatly. And I think that and in that vein, there was I don't know, maybe that whole thing will come up again later, but I think that women need to reconnect with our femininity, right? We need to reconnect with the greatest strength that we have as a gender, right? As the female of this species, we have a inordinate amount of power over the direction that is taken by our culture, right? Now, why? Well, first of all, it's biological, darlings, okay? At the very root of it, it comes back to that sneaky little amygdala in lizard brain where all of us are just animals and we're trying to spread our seed as far into the future as we possibly can, okay? And in service of that, women are naturally aesthetic creatures, okay? I am completely and totally heterosexual, but I went to art school and I can appreciate a beautiful woman. Beautiful women are universally beautiful, okay? They are just works of art, okay? That's why a lot of art that's created is inspired by women, whether that's music, film, sculpture, painting. It's women who inspire it because beautiful creatures, aesthetic to look at, right? And don't get me wrong, I love me a hot man, okay? I really do. Tasty. I always will. It's my preferred flavor, okay? But from a artistic point of view, it's like the indefinable quality of what makes a really talented ballerina beautiful, right? And of course, all of that takes work. So where am I going with this? I told y'all this was going to end up being like just sound and feel like a mess, but where am I going with this? So women in our lizard way inspire these feelings aesthetically because that's the defense mechanism that we have, right? It's like why babies are cute. We look this way because there's nothing we can do about the fact that the other half of the population, once they reach the age of 12, can fuck you up irrevocably, okay? Now, that is something that's really difficult and uncomfortable to come to grips with. I understand that. I rail against it every day, but there's nothing we can do about it, all right? It's a reality. What you can do is manipulate the way that you move through the world and practice the skills and cultivate certain skills and nurture talents to work within that system to the best of your ability, okay? Because men will always be inspired to accumulate wealth, resources, and power in the service of the women that they pursue. All right, so we inspire greatness and achievement and accomplishment in the men that we choose to align ourselves with, right? So how does that come back to beauty pageants? Well, in my opinion, I think that we have greatly lost sight of what the beauty pageant was for, right? And, or at least not lost sight of it, but we never failed to, we failed to ever pin down precisely what the point was, right? Like when it moved from being a marketing advertising campaign for swimsuits or tourism or whatever it is, like what was, and a lot of them are still that, right? Because women are great at marketing. Hot women, man, wow, who knew? Tits sell, brilliant, right? Florals for spring, groundbreaking. Tits sell, who knew? But anyways, so even though the swimsuit marketing, the tourism marketing of beauty pageants is how the institution who is putting on the pageant makes money, what is the point for participation for the young women, right? And I think that is where we lost the plot when it comes to current beauty pageants, with the exception of Miss World. I think that Miss World has stuck to their guns and appear to be doing it admirably, so they're left out of that. But the rest of them, we never sat down and really thought about why young women or women in general want to do and what the point is of beauty pageants. And because we never did that, they've become purely decorative, performative, empty shells of what they could be, right? Both in the competitive sense and who the title holders end up being. And what I mean by that is that you can see in the way that contestants choose to answer questions or what they choose to talk about and what they do with their year of reign, whether or not they had something of substance to bring to the table or if it was just superficial, right? And this is where we need to start adjusting ourselves, right? Because what are beauty pageants the arena of competition for, right? Like, what's the point of being a beauty pageant contestant? What's the point of being a beauty queen? And the very core and center of it is an arena where you can practice the skills and nurture the ability to navigate social interactions in a successful way, right? I can tell you right now is the reason that I was drawn to them in the first place and why I wanted to do them. I was a naturally introverted person. I still am. And I've had coaches tell me I should not say that to people, but it's the reality. I am a naturally introverted person. It took a lot of practice to get to a point where I was comfortable and am comfortable going into groups of people where I don't know anybody or I don't know a lot of people, and building relationships from scratch, basically, because that is a skill that you have to work with. If you're fortunate enough to be somebody like my granddad or my brother, my brother meets people in line at restaurants, okay? People just naturally like talking to my brother, and it's not a skill that I have. I wasn't born with those skill points, okay? But I realized when I was younger that if I could put myself in situations like participating in a beauty pageant where the whole point is cultivating the ability to go into rooms where you may not know anybody and get to know people and network and build relationships and basically learn how to make friends, right? Like, learn how to make and meet new people when you don't know anyone. And that was what got me originally into beauty pageants. And I think that is at the core of why you competitively do participate in this kind of event, right? And everything is built around that. Now, my theory as to why, okay? Because there is a core to this that comes back to the, women driving men to success thing that I want to, we're gonna tie all this together with a little bow here. I think the goal of a beauty pageant contestant and what you're looking to be when you become Miss USA or Miss Universe or whoever, right, is you're looking to emulate literal royalty because you are now a queen, right? But also the first lady, right? You are looking to emulate women in positions of influence and power. And I don't mean Kim Kardashian, okay? I mean, which I don't want to, dismiss her particular brand of power, but that's not what we're talking about here, okay? We're talking about the classy, not trashy cultivation of feminine power. And that, to me, is exemplified in, like, your first lady trope, right? Like, if you are the partner or wife of someone who is in a position of governmental power, or if you are the woman who is looking to be in a position of power, what kind of skills and habits do you need to cultivate and grow to be as successful as you can be in that position, right? And number one, I think without a doubt, in any kind of public facing or even behind the scenes position of influence, you have to be able to speak to people. You have to be able to connect with people in a genuine way and be able to do so in service of a goal, right? And that's what beauty contestants do, right? Or at least they used to. I think that you have to exhibit poise, personality, and the ability to present yourself in an appropriate way, superficially, regardless of the circumstance, right? Which is absolutely a lost art, okay? I don't want to see any of y'all little shits running around out here in rubber house shoes and sweatpants and pajama pants anymore. I don't want to see it. Stop it. It is the degradation of society, and the buck stops here, okay? We've had enough. We are a classy nation. We're not trashy. We put ourselves together before we leave the house because it is personal respect that then goes out into the world and puts ripples of respect into our society, okay? And so put on some real shoes. None of this plastic nonsense. No sneakers, no Crocs, no Uggs. Real shoes, okay? Real shoes. And no more petroleum-based products. We're gonna do a whole little spiel on that too, because as a designer, I have lots to say. But stop, all right? And that is a key component to competing in beauty pageants, which, ladies, if you think we cannot tell that your interview suit is made of rayon, polyester, nylon, acetate, viscose, whatever, it's a petroleum chemically based product, girl, you are highly mistaken. Stop it. Stop it. You need to be going out and buying a really beautiful, nice, elegant, natural fiber suit or business attire that you can pull into your life outside of beauty pageants. Because these polyester Crayola colored nonsense, babies, we know you ain't wearing them anywhere outside of that context, okay? Outside of the context of your beauty pageant interview that lasts for 3 minutes, no one is ever seeing you wear that monstrosity ever again. Stop it, okay? Come find me, I will help you out. This is untenable. We need to quit it, okay? Because every single instance that you find yourself in when competing for a beauty pageant should be a excuse for you to go out and accumulate things that will help you in the future and will be usable again, right? So, anyways, what's the whole point, right? We want to cultivate poise, personality, to be a diplomatic asset, right? I got this, my little... It's not a script, it's notes. So can you be presentable and classy, not trashy, in any situation that you find yourself in? That's what this competition is about, right? Is the practice of doing this and the competition of doing it, right? Because how do you really learn? How do you really hone something? You compete against others who are equally desiring success in that arena, okay? That's how. You don't sharpen a knife on grass, babies, okay? You sharpen a knife against a rock in a hard place. So, can you how do you comport yourself in public arenas? What are you well-spoken? Do you have a personality that invites people in to, hang out, to speak to you, to spend time with you? Do they want to invite you to a dinner party? Are you a asset in social situations? And post-COVID, come on, y'all. We all know that this is a skill and a talent that could be worked on by everybody. Gender aside, okay? Man, woman, cat lady, doesn't matter, all right? We all need to work on this post-COVID because the skill was lost. Skill was lost and we need to get back to it, okay? Now, and gown, evening gown. Like, first of all, we know swimsuits because we want to know that you are capable of taking care of yourself physically, right? Because what you do with your temple is the very basis of it's ground zero for how much self-respect do you have and how much control do you have over your own personal impulses, right? Like, can you control what's going on in your gray matter, right? Can you control your own personal impulses and treat your physical temple and physical vessel in a healthy and respectful way, right? Because being overweight and unhealthy and slob-like is not respectful. Okay, we know that. Now, so that's swimsuit. Also, because half of these things were started by swimsuit companies to sell swimsuits. Go on ahead with your bad self. We all like looking at a hot girl in a bikini, okay? And anyone who says we don't is just mad, all right? And you know how you fix it if you're mad and unhappy about hot girls in bikinis? Go out and take care of your physical vessel and become a hot girl in a bikini, okay? Or a hot man in a bathing suit, whichever one, all right? We are not sexist in our exclusion of men needing to go out and take care of their physical vessel in order to be hot too, right? Like, hotness needs to be embraced by everybody. But, and you all have it in you. I know you do. I know you do, okay? Your ancestors did not work as hard as they did getting their gene seed into the future so that you can walk around looking like a schlubby tub of slop, okay? Now, anyways, gown. What is gown? First of all, when you go to pick out your evening gown, stop picking these things that are cartoon shows. They don't look good on you. They're not flattering. They distract from you as the individual. You need to be going out, and it completely defeats the purpose of spending that much stupid money on a gown to begin with, okay? Because what should you be doing with your gown? You should be picking a gown that if you find yourself in a position where you need a gown in the future because you've accomplished your goal of becoming a woman of influence and a cultural driver within our great nation, then you may find yourself needing a black tie gown. So maybe you should pick a black tie gown that you can pull out of your closet when that, moment presents itself and use it. And you can't do that with these current styles and crops of gowns. You can't. It's no. You look like a clown, and it's completely unserious. Are some of them like gasp inducing? Sure, but not in a way that's realistic in a real life situation, okay? So pick a gown, and there's so many gowns. I think Miss America does this fairly well. Picking a gown that you will be proud to go into your closet if you ever are presented with a black tie gala invite and say, you know what? That I felt unbelievably beautiful, confident, and respectful in that gown, okay? Like, if you had to go to a black tie gala to go meet the queen, could you pull your beauty pageant gown out and wear it? I would be venturing to say that most of you, if it's not a no, it should be. Okay? So, also, when you're picking your wardrobe, that's where your personal style and your ability to showcase your personal taste comes through, right? It's why we got to get rid of these like copy paste, polyester monstrosities that y'all are pulling out, and building completely impractical wardrobes that once you age out of your particular pageant or you decide to no longer do them, you're never going to pull out any piece of that wardrobe ever again. All right, you got to start rethinking that. These need to be an investment. That's the point. It's an investment in things that will be of use to you in the future, not just for this moment right now. All right? That's also classy versus trashy 101. Don't spend your money on things that are going to be used once, okay? You need to be investing in things that are going to have a lifetime of return for you. It's why we're a big champion of real fur over fake fur, real leather over fake leather, of wearing actual leather shoes versus your Jordans, your Crocs, or your Uggs, okay? Like, these are investment things. You need to be thinking about that before you start spending more money at Shein, okay? Like, check yourself. All right, your wallet will thank you. Anyways, and so will your future self. So, now then, what else do I want to talk about? And currently, we really need to reevaluate the criteria that we've got for beauty contestants right now, because it's not classy. Like, half the time they're regurgitating half remembered scripts that someone else helped them write that contain the correct amount of buzzwords, to meet AI quota in judging, right? And like, come on, like, we can do better than that, y'all. We can do better than that. All right, you need to be actually doing things. You need to actually be able to come up and tell us and show us, this is what I'm doing, because you are your actions, not your words. You are your actions. And I talked about this in my last episode, but we are coming to an inflection point right now where, because of the internet and because of this surplus of public information that exists about every single person, it is unavoidable that authenticity is a prerequisite and a requirement from this point forward. Because, y'all, the TikTokers will come out and hunt you down for your fakery. Okay, we all know it. All right. Esse quam videri, y'all. Esse quam videri. Anyways, what else do I want to talk about here? Okay. And all of this, I got so much to say about this, okay? All right, why does it matter? So why does all of this matter to begin with, right? And I think it's because who you choose to raise up as role models or success stories, who you choose to give a platform to, who you choose to give the limelight to, shows where the culture is at any given point in time, right? And I think that, well, I don't know about y'all, but personally, I'm real tired of giving accolades to people who are more of an empty vase than I am, okay? Who can hardly string two words together, can't answer a question, and look like they gotta go work, the 2 a.m. shift at, Pumps, okay? And have so much facial work done by the time they're 25 that they look 45, all right? And it's just, let me read some of this, okay? And it's because we all know when it's disingenuous. We can all tell. And that's why I keep talking about this inflection point between true authenticity and the performance of, right? And it's, okay, I've got this whole little thing here, okay? But we're just going to read some of this off because I think all of them are pretty solid. So, it's, first off, I think that by allowing the proliferation of, SEO terms over action and demonstratable concrete results, is it basically eliminates the entire point of competition, right? Like, if you degrade the criteria upon which you are judged, then what's the point of competition, right? Like, why even compete anymore? And so the eroding of meaningful resumes and personal interests, it flattens authenticity into something that you can SEO into a word salad rather than, actually being well-informed, interesting individuals, right? I'm so tired of this cookie cutter like I said, SEO word salad regurgitation that we've got going on right now. Like, you are allowed to be a unique, interesting individual. Like, please go out, cultivate weird, nerdy hobbies and things that you're interested in, and, gobble up information about these things to the point where when you're put into a situation, you have things that you can talk about. You can find common interests with people. You can share something other than, what did you think about the latest Love Island episode, right? Like, that's only going to take you so far. And frankly, it's uninteresting. It's boring. Like, come on, ladies. We're better than this. You are smarter than this. You are more interesting than this. Like, come on, y'all. It's making us look real bad out here, and I'm sick of it, okay? Also, when you start to platform and celebrate those who display a profound lack of self-confidence that can't be fixed with external alteration, right? Like, we know this. We know that you can't... No amount of Botox that you get is going to fix how you feel about yourself. It's not. You got to do that internally, okay? And it perpetuates an environment that's already prone to image issues. Like, that's why so much of what we experience as women culturally right now is it's so extreme and it's so discouraging, is because of course it's all focused around the way that we look, because that's our strength. It's our magic power. And so if you can manipulate that from a corporatization, a consumer perspective, then you have power over women culturally, right? And so put the Haagen-Dazs down. It's not going to make you happy. It's not the, solution for when you're happy or when you're sad or when life is terrible. No, okay? We'll talk about that in a later episode, how to fix that. But we're already prone to self-image problems as it is, right? And glorifying it as an acceptable avenue of self-improvement is illusory at best and actively harmful at worst, right? Like, putting women in positions of admiration and as aspirational, who clearly are physically demonstrating a deeply rooted disconnect from who they are and who they see themselves as, is not healthy. It doesn't benefit anyone. And I say that as someone, like, don't think that I'm out here casting stones in glass houses, baby. Like, I got no glass house. I have been there, right? I have been under that needle. So I get it, right? And I'm not saying that I would never do it again. But we need to be more concerned with why you feel like you need to do these things and addressing that first, versus doing this as the end all solution, especially because they're clearly selling it to you. Like, as soon as a cosmetic procedure company or person or entity becomes a sponsor of one of these events, like, babies, and it's a lot of these things are for when you actually are old. Like, stop it. Your face needs to completely, fully develop before you start messing with it, okay? Wait until you're like 35, 45, all right? You don't need to be doing this when you're like 19 or 25, okay? You don't. Like, it's fine. Just put down the seed oils, stop going to crumble cookies, and go take care of yourself physically and mentally, and cultivate an interesting and diverse set of interests that make you into a captivating person to have in social situations, okay? And this is my note for the gowns, all right? All that sparkles is not gold, darlings, okay? All that sparkles is not gold. Just because it's glittery does not mean it exudes elegance, style, or taste. All right? You can be hot and seductive and salacious without being slutty. You can, I promise. We've been doing it for nigh on millennia, okay? You can do it. You don't have to be nearly naked all the time in order to be sultry, all right? As a matter of fact, things are more interesting when there's a lot left to the imagination, all right? No one was ever excited by a present that wasn't wrapped, okay? All right. It's a false display of excess, and it's poorly disguising a lack of taste and skill when it comes to style, and it's actively encouraging situational blindness and inappropriate attire, okay, which is trashy, and we're not about that here. We want to be classy people. We want to be classy people because we want to cultivate a aura and superficial skill set that casts us as far into the future of our success as we can, okay? We need to be really building up these feminine power muscles in order to successfully navigate our world and our life, okay? So do better. We need high-end competition, okay? I want high-end competitiveness. We need the best of the best, and we're not getting it right now. And frankly, I can't necessarily blame the contestants because it all trickles down. And if the people that are running it are skeezy, nasty, criminal, motherfuckers, well, what do we expect? Okay? What do we expect? Because if pageant drama and pageant news lately has taught us anything, it's that apparently Miss Universe and Miss USA are currently operated by a drug and arms trafficker and a fraudulent tranny. Which, I mean, is anybody surprised by, the fall from grace of that particular title? I don't think so. So, anyways, now, why is this, important, especially within, the United States? Because the U.S. started beauty pageants, y'all, okay? Like, it is and used to be our bread and butter. So, like, first off, it started as a capitalist venture to either sell bathing suits, beauty products, things like that, right? Like you had, Miss USA was a bathing contest, a bathing suit advertisement contest, right? Miss America was a tourism ad for Jersey City or Atlantic City. And so it started as capitalist ventures to get interest in a product or a community, right? And I think that's an incredibly American thing, right? I mean, slap some good looking titties and legs on it and people will get interested, okay? So no shade to that, right? But it's also, it eventually became pageants in general, okay, let's define what a pageant is. A pageant is a spectacle or rich, splendid display, historically of a religious nature, which in the U.S., our religion is capitalism, so all hail be the monetary gods. Modern history, it means a pageant is a means of expressing national, communal, religious, or other group identities, right? And to celebrate that in a demonstration of communal unity, right? So it was originally, like I said, a purely American concept and way to sell products with attractive women, right? And eventually it grew into the the modern version of beauty pageants, where women started to realize that this was like I've been talking about in the 40 minutes before this, the opportunity to hone skills that are useful when you find yourself in a position to negotiate influence and power, right? The camera overheated. We're back. So, where was I in my little rant about beauty pageants and why they're important? Okay, so after we were talking about beauty pageants, the history, and it's a purely American event that was originally designed around using attractive women to market, just to sell products and market, right? And it then grew into a competition for physical marketability based on your personality, your intelligence, your moral character, and the good and impact that you have on your community, right? And we have found recently that it had degraded into something where, as long as you knew what SEO terms to plug in, you could find success without actually having to do the legwork of building a resume of community service and personal development and actual depth as a human being, right? And now, thank goodness, it's the one positive that we've got with the, everybody filming all the time thing, is that whether you are authentic or not is now unavoidable. And it's not necessarily left up to you. It is, but the internet will hunt you down and find out, baby, okay? And you can't hide it. You cannot hide reality anymore. And it's only going to get worse from here, all right? There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. So, what do I think that you need to be asking yourself is, how are you contributing to the town square, right? Like, culturally, at the community level, what are you contributing, right? Like, what are you getting up and doing every day that influences the direction of the community that you directly interact with, right? Like, how are you influencing your hometown or the people that you surround yourself with, right? Like, what kind of active citizen are you, right? Or are you just one of these that's going out and getting a lot of facial work done and posting pictures of yourself on social media, right? Like, it has to be more than that. We can't keep allowing cosmetically altered faces to be put into these positions of perceived aspiration when they've done nothing of any substance to deserve it, right? So basically, like, you either do the actual work or you don't. And we're coming to the point where, like, you can't avoid that. You can't fake that. So think about that, all right? And why does this... I know there's going to be people out there that are like, well, beauty pageants don't matter, right? Like, it's a superficial, nonsensical contest that has nothing to do with nothing, right? And you know what? Maybe you're right. But I also think that it's a arena for personal improvement, and to discount the importance of the skills that you learn to cultivate while participating in something like a beauty pageant is you're only doing yourself a disservice, right? Like, to discount that, it's only bad for you, babes. It's not bad for the women who choose to capitalize on that to their own advantage, right? And yeah, I mean, life is nothing but a performance, and I've talked about this a lot. It is nothing but a performance, and the least that you can do is wake up every day and do it to the best of your ability, right? Like, learning to walk in heels is a skill that anybody can learn. Learning to carry yourself in a composed and poised way is a skill that anybody can learn. Learning to be an interesting person is something that anybody can do. It's just about finding life interesting and trying to be a diverse and curious person, right? And then translating that into how you choose to present yourself visually to the world. Because self-composure is a skill that anybody can learn. Anybody can learn how to present themselves in the best way possible and to put themselves forward in the best way possible. And so, you know, that's why I think that the original Miss Universe motto was so meaningful, is that you are confidently beautiful, because confidence comes from security in knowing who you are and what you bring to the table, and that you cannot be replaced. You can. I mean, we all can, right? Like, on a nihilistic, you know, we're all going to end up dead kind of way, like, you know, knitting the life of man. Like, we are nothing in the grand scheme of things. But on a day-to-day reality basis, no one is going to be you. There will never be another you. So be confident in that. Be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. And it makes you beautiful. All right? Because being able to carry yourself and move in a aesthetically pleasing way is a skill that can be cultivated. Dancers cultivate it, athletes cultivate it, beauty contestants cultivate it. So you can learn this, you can practice these things, and then you can apply them to your own life. It has very little to do with what your ancestors gave you, and a lot to do with who you choose to be on a day-to-day basis. And we need to get back to a point where even the beauty queens are held to a high standard of expectations when it comes to being a glorious representation of who we are culturally, right? Like, I'm tired of Kim K and Kim K clones being the ideal woman that's put out into the universe representing the United States. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. We're better than this. American women are better than this. We deserve better than that. That is not who we are, and to allow that to be the model that is sent out into the world as aspirational is disrespectful on so many levels, and we can do better. All right. So this is a long one, okay? This is like a mini manifesto for me, if you haven't caught on yet, because, again, it comes back to my trashy, not classy, okay? Trashy, not or classy, not trashy. My God, out here just messing up my own little catchphrase. Classy, not trashy, okay? All of this ties into that. And I think that I have another, you know, whole little sheet of, like, who is Miss USA, right? And, like, that ideally we strive for personal improvement and in character, in your physicality, because your body is a temple. It's the only one that you have. You do not have another one. This is it. You either make the most of what you have right now, or you never do. This is it. And beauty springs from the care and time that we put into, and the practice that we put into caretaking what we've been given genetically by our ancestors, right? And like improving on that and doing what we can to make sure that those who come after us are put at even a higher place of potential success, right? And when you pair that with nurturing interests and talents that are inspiring to you, right? Because we're not all the same person. We all have different things that inspire us and that interest us and that get us excited about living day to day. And you have to, that's what's interesting, and that's what encourages personal growth and encourages you to be an active member of the world that you belong in, right? So yeah. Anyways, I guess that's kind of what I've got to, no, maybe we're just going to finish this whole little thing. So after beauty pageants were established as like a marketing thing using attractive women, right? Feminism came in and said, "Oh, this is sexist. This is terrible," And so beauty pageants started to pivot and try and change the way that they were operating in order to make it more about the platform that it gave to young women, right? And it started to be, beauty pageants started to be sold as social platform and what kind of community service are you wanting to give back, right? And I think that there is the reality that these are businesses, right? And you have to make enough money to continue to do these things and to continue to provide a arena for competition. But I just think that we need to reconnect with why you do it to begin with, and that if the entire organization is just looking for a paper doll to put up on social media to try and shill subpar product on a unsuspecting public, is that true beauty, right? Is that true empowerment? Personally, I don't think so. And the reality is that beauty does sell. It does. We know it does. There's nothing wrong with that. Where, again, to go full circle and come back to the very beginning, I think that's where we went wrong, is when we stopped admitting that beauty sells and that the most powerful tool in a woman's toolkit is her ability to manipulate that to her advantage. And in my opinion, true female empowerment is a complete embrasure of the male gaze and manipulation of it in service of your own personal social civic gains, right? Like, yeah, and I think that we've reached a point where we have idolized artificial and disingenuous over genuine and sincere. We do know the difference, and that's why you're constantly seeing videos and content being made by old school influencers who are lamenting the fact that their audience no longer identifies with where they're at, right? Because they lost the connective tissue that made them a authentic person to begin with, right? And we know we can tell the difference. We are an incredibly adaptable species. So we know when we're being lied to. You just have to listen. And we don't like it. We don't like it. We don't like being lied to. We don't like being sold a fraudulent bill of goods, okay? Like, that's why Kim K's time has come, in my opinion, and long overdue. And in that same vein, like, victimhood, trendy identity performance, it's trashy. Like, it's so, especially in the context of a beauty pageant, darling, you cannot be that oppressed or that much of a victim if you are competing for a beauty pageant. Like, the privilege, it reeks, it's oozing, darlings. And you've managed to put, even if you have things that you've overcome in your life, you are in an area where you have moved beyond that and are using it in a way where to capitalize on your future potential success, right? And there's nothing victimhoody about that. So stop trying to sell this. Stop it. It's not cute. It's very tasteless and tacky. And nobody cares about what skin color you are. Nobody cares about who you are sexually attracted to. Nobody cares about any of these things, okay? What do people care about? People care about who you are and what you do. That's it. You are your actions. You are the things and the waves that you choose to put out into the universe. That's who you are, not your words. All right? And I think that, you know, like, we gotta stop accepting the, like, social credit padding of resumes. It's just, it's like, get out of here. Get out of here. It's not cute. But anyways, and I think that as soon as we can kind of reconnect with what beauty pageants are in a competitive improvement way, we're going to be better off, okay? So let's put all of this out into the universe, go out and choose to be the best version of you today, because there's no guarantee of tomorrow, honeys. You either do it today or you don't do it at all. As you know, a great teacher once said, do or do not. There is no try. So, anyways, catch up with us on Sunday. I think the next episode is going to be Pavlov's positivity, or bitch slap to success. So, catch up with us on Sunday for that one. Have a good one, y'all.